Due to this patch being one of the few patches in the set without the top tier competition, and while the meta has seen some shifts in its top tiers, nothing has really changed comps wise. Many pros have opted to use this time to limit test the game as well as play to their full enjoyment. Therefore, for today, we're going to be jumping in game with Robinsongz, starting out here with Thresh and Varus gods. We have hold on to the Lissandra pair, have the possibility to make Nasus too, as well as probably hold on to the Aatrox, a unit that can make many endgame boards due to its ability to provide Shred and Sunder. Pick up a Mordekaiser, so definitely considering this kind of a Vanguard opener here, have the possibility for Lissandra too, as well as to hold on to the Zoe. Therefore, probably going to be favoring that as an option rather than these Timebreaker units. Timebreaker is obviously amazing to hold on whenever you're playing for Lost Streak. Have held on to what seems to be Shepherds and the Replicator with the Lissandra instead. That's, in my opinion, is an interesting choice rather than holding onto the Zoe. Our slam with the moment would most likely either have to be Rageblade or Crown Guard. Crown Guard, I'm not too excited on Rageblade, obviously on Lissandra either, unless you are definitely able to make it to that fast 9 and cap around that Vex, as LeBlanc has heavily fallen out of favor. In my opinion, I'm not sure why she really did deserve the Shepherd nerf right there. For our Augment selection, starting out with the Prismatic, we have the ability for Band of Thieves, which is your item tempo augment, but in my opinion is quite underpowered in what it provides. Obviously, if you're not slamming, this would be a way for us to get items, but I believe it would just be too slow as an item tempo augment in the Prismatic tier. Then something like Deadlier Caps is definitely a better option. We have quite decent of an opener, 2 upgraded units, have that Vanguard pair, can level for that Replicator. If you're able to get the stacking, we have the possibility with leveling probably not for Lissandra Reroll, rather carry into something like an Asol, and then if you're able to make it to that level 9 cap around something like a Vex, Sona, Bard, this is going to be great as the stacks obviously retain on the item. Upwards mobility, you are both low streak and tempo option. You can definitely use this as a tempo option since buying XP costs 1 less. Great for your econ possibilities, but if we are able to establish tempo, many top players will definitely prefer playing tempo, especially on the ladder, which the Deadlier Caps offers. Therefore, we immediately read all our Band of Thieves, and we have Heart of Swarm. Now, this is the Varus encounter. We have the possibility for tiny dupes, but we do not have any Primordians, right? We absolutely no Primordians. This is very hard to be pulled off, and I've yet to see a successful game. I've not attempted this myself. I have never seen anyone successfully attempt it in my games. But Robinsongz is there to entertain chat quite a few times. I think our best option at this point would be probably a Deadlier Caps. You can see the chat, they are all spamming for him to take it. Birthday present there we saw is a possibility for obviously tempo. It's a little bit weaker of the econ augments, especially if you have something like an opener already. You would prefer to have some kind of frontline, and then you level, you see what you get, and hope that you hit sometimes a damage unit, then you have some item slams, but we are not too excited about the item slams we got. We're going to be ripping the hardest swarm there, and at what cost is something that if you have a lot of already strong board presence and an item slam to go with alongside. Obviously we here received our Primordians, quite a few of them, but since you need to 3-star so many units, you definitely would like to be playing it around from already having some kind of Primordian presence. There's a lot for you to hit, and he's trying to map out the board, but possibility he can. You're most likely going to be rolling on that level 5, for those Primordians for your 1-cost units. Therefore, we are mapping out the Caitlyn and Aatrox he seems to be going for. I believe something. Yeah, you probably pick up a Cho'Gath, as that's quite easy and nicely ties in together. You can play still that Kai'Sa right there. Still interested to see what he's going to be mapping out here. Going for 2 costs can become quite expensive, as you still need to reach that level 9 right there. And our items are not in the best situation either. We are hovering that Crown Guard slam. Even though we are in 2 loss, I do not think we need to be slamming. Queuing in to build a Bud team mode won't make a difference if we make that slam here. Can hold on to making a better component later on. As long as we're killing units, we should be fine. Trying to hit heavily on econ. This is another downside of this augment, right? You're sacrificing a prismatic tier, and then you still need a lot of econ. We see Varus, we see 2 tiny duplicators. Mini recombobulator is more in situations where you have some of these bandwagon upgraded units sitting on your board, but you do not have a clear direction or item slams committed right away. For ourselves right now, I would assume we're picking up something. I guess Briar is your main carry, as You're going to be hitting Belveth, but that might come on a little later on. But he's going to be going for Cloak. Many uses of Cloak. Can make that Stoneplate, can make that Steel QSSS, BT. Lots of possibilities to be considering right there. But he seems to be going for Caitlyn. Maybe that's a possibility he's considering, as that's going to be quite uncontested of a unit to be playing into. And we are playing into that Nova package later on. Aatrox, and then is going to be pairing obviously together with the Aatrox we were mapping out as well right away. Putting a little ease on that item economy that we are probably going to be looking out for, as I think in this spot we're still considering going for an econ augment on 3-2 if we do get offered an option. Quite decently at naturaling our units, have already 6 Briars, so this would signal to me that we are looking for a possibility to have that Briar carry. Talon is a possibility that you could also be slotting in, right? Also another uncontested unit, pairs with your Rogues. The only downside, I believe, is that then you do not have those Challengers or Marauders for your Belveth, which might be fine, but I still believe Belveth to be the prime carry here. Something like a Belveth Akali going right there, and then maybe you have that Aatrox. Quite a few variations how you can explore this board, and being flexible of what you're hitting is probably going to be the key that makes or breaks your game. We have successfully completed our 5 loss. Had to do a little positioning there to ensure it, as we see there's another, at least a couple of players who were contesting that loss streak. But let's see how we are going to fare. How far are we going to be rolling on that level 4 here for our 1 costs? And we have 4 dupes, so we perhaps might not be under that much pressure to stabilize. Remember that we want to be sometimes utilizing these dupes. We are one way going to give, rather than popping the anvil, is going to give up on the Talon too. But our item picks signal me towards Belveth. We picked up the Briar to right there, going Kraken, so we are going for a Belveth build, but obviously Briar is now going to be carrying them for a while. Hit that Briar 3, and yeah, we have to utilize sometimes our dupes to simply clear up our bench space. And definitely would want to hold on to this Cho'Gath right now, but simply cannot. A single Cho'Gath is fine since we're so far away still. But if you are in the stuck position, sometimes you have to go for it. Heroic Grab Bag is amazing for us, especially if you're going to be chasing the Belveth 3. Obviously cannot use tiny dupes on her. Epoch, we would not gain much value out of it right away. Would have to be late game and gamble that we're going to be hitting. Sunfire board. Do not think we can take combat to this spot. We would prefer econ than items. Pandora's could give us some items, but we have pretty much committed our slams right away. Still, I believe just going for extra dupes is just immense value in this kind of a spot, so we're going to be going with that. Slotting in a Jinx, right? So Akali, that's what I would be thinking. Now Jinx is quite a hot unit in the meta, but I would be thinking of these 3 Primordians, then Akali, then Jinx, and then simply having that Cho'Gath right there. That would be my 6 units that I would be thinking of, the ideal scenario you would be going for, but those are 2 costs right there. They're going to be quite expensive. That's going to delay your level 9 further, and they can be quite hot in the meta. We see there's a player here playing around that MF. They might as well have considered playing into the Jinx. So unless you're able to bully the players off, it might be quite hard to execute. And since we have these 6 Caitlyn's, hey, we're going to be going for a Caitlyn, right? It seems, and it's completely fine. You're just getting a little bit more attack speed. And again, we have the possibility to playing around the Aatrox in this kind of spot. Just pulling out more 1 cost out of that bucket is going to obviously increase your chances. Managed to hit that Rek'Sai 3 right away. We can see he's rolling aggressively. But definitely, if we want any shot at ourselves of making that level 9, we need to be securing rounds now. As going into that stage 4, when those 2-star 4 costs are coming online, we might have a tough time keeping up. Especially if our items sometimes are just slam for tempo and we have to be playing with what we got. Still a very close fight here against the Samira board. They have that trade tree, they have a lot of value in them, but having taken also an econ augment on 3-2, that's going to bridge the gap for ourselves. So still not quite of a stable of a spot. We are quite worried in that front. Starcrossed upgrade is something that I would generally not consider, but it might not be that bad in this spot. We are definitely aligning ourselves with Varus since we're playing so heavily on reroll, get that HP on our board. But perhaps we might gamble for Thresh to provide us with a little bit even more econ. Going to be gambling in the Starcrossed upgrade. We have 2 hits that we can take. Are we able to hide all this? We are. That is an absolutely amazing sign for ourselves. So perhaps another thing that he's considering here is an option that even if we make this Caitlyn, we might not end up playing her on our final board. find that Belvet 3, and now we only need to be finding a couple of copies of either the Cho'Gath or Aatrox. Definitely quite high on tempo, but we see we have rolled quite deep. Queuing into this Nami, still quite of a close fight simply due to our lack in the items front. This Apex Primordian Augment is not doing too much until you're actually able to fully get there. Get to transition our items onto that Belvet. That's going to be quite neat. Have to sit for the rest of the stage. It would have been absolutely amazing if we were able to win 3-1 as well. Get that 5-streak win streak gold carry over into PvE round. Into Karma, definitely quite high of a lobby, tempo lobby. Has the also Mordekaiser to Nunu right away. But we think we should make easy work. Karma unit still just paying tax for her being a Voyager unit. Every board wants her, no board wants to itemize her truly, unless you give her just utility later on in the game. Find another copy, so we're a single copy away, and then we're just going to be looking to sit and try to win, sit on our econ and try to push levels. Have to be wary not to be too aggressive. Perhaps even taking another econ augment might bridge the gap, but then again we have so many Tricos that, so many units that we definitely want to be looking for items. I think we have it now. Yeah, we should have it right now. Have it right there. Not going to be going obviously for that Akali 3. Trying to finish off with some kind of a tank item, as the front line seems to be the weaker part, and we're going to be pushing her. So let's see if we're going to be holding on to this Caitlyn all the way once we unlock our Apex Primordian. Obviously have to carry her all the way to level 9. Not something like the Exalted Adventure where you're just able to sell the unit off going to get the cash out, sell the unit off. You have to be actually hitting the full conditions. Explosive growth does get offered as an option for us, and definitely could carry our way to level 9. Are we going to believe in this pure strength of just raw numbers in terms of units? Earth, I do not like this augment at all, even though despite how strong our Space Groove and Darkstar Emblem can be, unless you're able to fully capitalize on this tempo, it's not something I like. Exclusive customization would be neat. We do not have a 3-item tank just now, I think. But he's going to value, yeah, we have to get somehow our way to level 9. Therefore going to be going with Explosive Growth, Reinforcement for you, something like a Kindred. Obviously bailout in this kind of spots. You have my bow. Good and Zaya. Top tier comp in the meta, but going to be how it is. Going to be still going for this aggressive level of level to 7 here. Trying to preserve our win streak, because that's going to net our gold back. And just get that a little bit more sustain onto that Belvet. We can see once we go for this kind of a bandwagon build, we need to get these levels to get useful traits in. But, and we have opted to itemize Cho'Gath here. That's another thing to note, especially whenever in this Primordial, as you've been carrying the Cho'Gath around and he's a Cho'Gath 3, he's going to be scaling quite a lot. And the Rek'Sai herself is not that tanky. Cho'Gath 3 is obviously always going to be tankier, especially if you're able to get something like the Warmogs on him. The guy absolutely loves it. Unfortunately, those 3 gets broken, so thankfully we click that econ augment right there. Our tank items are not ideal, but we are quite few low on items all the way together. And yeah, just going for these 1-cost builds seem to be a great option. Pulling out of the same cost bucket, and we had that player with a build-a-bug who pulled out Timo 3 as well, so that definitely helped us as well. Sadly, our Belvet is stuck on this Bramble West, the top tier against this this Zaya board here, playing around as Samira, but opting to itemize Zaya 1 over Samira 2. Good thing for us to note. For ourselves, we're just looking for some kind of econ. I believe we can rip trash here. The 5 gold, and this is going to be, I do not recall exactly our position in lobby. We're something in the middle of the pack. Would be about, yeah, about the value. It would be 6 gold. So this is going to be more. We still opt to go for a Kali here. So a better option either way, unless we get something like an Evelyn with a random item and minus 5 HP. Then we might be a little sad. But even then, if the random item, we cannot utilize AP items. We get to roll the bones, I believe. So that worked out amazingly for us. Got that gold back up. Able to complete the last item for our Cho'Gath. And now just trying to position, and we have to watch out for Bramble West. I think Bramble West at the moment in the meta is the best item, definitely something you want to be greeting with. So many AD players all around, and the AP matchups you might be facing, unless they are those fast line matchups, are not going to provide you with that, are not going to be that scary for you. going to be leveling to level 8 here so we can get Challenger in now. Hopefully this Belvet is going to be able to do some work, that we have finally activated her traits. See that there's another Tomkench too, so going to be moving away from that, and now we queue into Nunu too, that has made a Declaw carrying a Karma instead of a Nami. That's an interesting option, but they have that just simply the raw power, so you can see even though when you have hit, this Augment is so hard to pull off in a higher tier lobbies, we can just see. So we get offered for 3 gold. You can see from his face. This is exactly, I believe, what he wanted, as this might allow us to be pushing that level 9 right away. Obviously, we would want items, but let's see if this Apex Primordian is actually worth the hype. Is he going to be enough for us to win? I've seen many screenshots of this guy just going, players just going bot for 6th, 7th, 8th, just with this. They get there and they just do not have enough power on their board. So you can see, even though with all these 3 stars, when you are so heavily indexed on these econ augments, you are not stable on stage 4, so you need that early game tempo ideally. We had to play from a 5-loss streak, so we put ourselves in an extremely rough spot, but let's see, are we able to pull it off? Is he worth the hype? Going up against the top tier thing in the meta, the Zaya comp that has that Tomkench too, has that Nunu too, so definitely very, very strong. And the Apex Primordian is holding down the line. We can saw in the previous fights, the difference was that we just simply did not have the frontline presence, but he's able to be there with that much HP, and also with this Varus Bloom, we are quite durable, and he's putting out quite a lot of damage. Reviving our Belvet with 3 items. Now, I don't think you can itemize, you cannot itemize this guy. Same way as a dragon right there, but trying to move the positions, and we're constantly getting on the weaker sides here in these last couple of fights. The Primordian does draw the aggro. This is nice also that he's able to pre the Belvet safe. That's sometimes the thing with this positioning, whenever they are indexed on this side, right? You can see the Belvet walks up here. If there's no durable tank here in this middle hex, this is something always also in the early stages of the game to keep wary of these focus funnel units, is that if you kill your weaker tank right here, if your strong tank is there, obviously they're just gonna, the units from the other sides are gonna walk up and can aggro your main carry. And I've admittedly lost one too many rounds that way in the early stages of the game. Now against the ASOL board, unfortunately, they play around those deadlier caps, the line that we saw as a possibility for ourselves right away from the start. We're just able to mow them down. Few unit wins, but as long as the Shogat lives protecting the Belvet, we have definitely potential for quite high of a cap. Now would be probably looking to, we're not getting a Kindred, so hoping to itemize the Caitlyn. We have opted to also go for 5 Nova cap right here. Definitely quite nice to get that Maokai right there, to get a little bit even more sustain for ourselves. And going with the Caitlyn Nova selector to get some of the damage jump on our board. I think, yeah, this is damage jump through the marks, right? So it's going to be more worthwhile than the extra shield from the Kindred. We are lacking in the damage compartment simply due to lacking the items, and I believe this is a retaining visual effect. This is quite interesting. But yeah, if in case you didn't notice, this Apex Primordian is the Aatrox, one of the other Aatrox reskins. Going against Ornn 3 Blitz 2, let's see how we fare. Rosa Radiant Bramble Vest, so that's a little shambles for ourselves. Let's see how we go against this. The Nami starting to work on our weaker side and getting Death Bear. Now the splash is going to come on the Belvet, but we have enough frontline power. This Apex Primordian does seem to justify its hype. If you're able to get there with a board that at least has an itemized tank and a carry and protect yourself, he can be quite durable. He can put in the damage necessary to do the AoE right away. And this visual effect does not seem to go away. That is kind of cool. Finally able to find that QSS. That's another thing that our Belvet was missing. And trying to see if we can sell. You cannot sell the unit. Probably a good thing to implement that. Moving our Cho'Gath there to try to just stall as much as possible. Our Belvet should be quite safe here. See that this player is also indexing fully on the one side, but you can see that this backline access is actually, with all these spaceships coming around, all those Apex Primordian units coming out, you are able to completely fare. We were completely fine to be sitting here at the all stage onto this level. Onto this level 9 without rolling. The Kindred 2 wouldn't have been a huge upgrade, so absolutely nothing for us to roll. Able to get here to level 10, get that Shen online for ourselves, get a 2 Bastion, a little bit more durability on our whole team. Now he's queuing up the walk. He's ready to win out this game. This is not going to be a double kill since we are fighting a ghost. Still, this is a close fight. I'm not sure if this is the best positioning to go for. Obviously, we're greeting the value from the Shen, but what is happening that is allowing for our... Yeah, we're going to be moving some of those units up, because otherwise our Cho'Gath does seem to be taking a little too much power against Jungle Book here. Again, the one roll, the Remnant Bramble, so it's going to be quite sustainable. But this Nami, I don't think, has enough burst on her part. The Blitz is simply a little too slow for ourselves. The Apex Primordian has managed to chew off the weak units, and we're going to successfully complete our win out. Very nice to see some of these rarer augments see their play. Obviously, what enabled it for us was the virus in itself, getting that extra amount of HP on our board, getting those tiny dupes, successfully completing the early 5 loss streak, then bouncing back on that stage 3, winning the 4 rounds, preserving enough lives during the stage 4, but finding another econ augment that allowed us to make it to that level 9 and fully indexing into this Apex Primordian to be enough, both on the sustain part and the damage compartment that we were missing due to not having enough items in our game. But you can see he can compete against some of the top tier comps in the meta. We fought fast 9 boards, we fought quite capped space group boards, and he definitely has the damage to be your duo carry. Hopefully you also get to finish this set by giving this comp a try and succeed with it. I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good one.